Hey, what's up guys? What's going on? Welcome back to Kitchen Tonic. Welcome back to another brand new tasty recipe here on the channel. Welcome. In this video here today, we're going to be making some stewed chicken breast, guys. I don't know if that's the technical term for the recipe we're going to be doing here, but that's what I'll be calling it. So what I have here on your screen is 3.5 pounds of chicken breast that I went ahead and removed most of the fat from. And what we're going to go ahead and do now, we're going to begin seasoning up our chicken breast here. Now what I went ahead and did off camera, I went ahead and washed my chicken breast here with some lime juice as well as some vinegar and water. And that's all I've done so far. So we're going to begin seasoning up this chicken breast here. Now what I have in another container here is some onions, bell peppers, red bell pepper, and some garlic that I went ahead and chopped up here, and that's about one medium to large size onion as well as one entire red bell pepper and about 5 cloves of garlic. Now, like I said, once again we're going to begin seasoning up our chicken here. So we're going to start with some salt here. We're not going to add too much salt. Feel free to add salt based on your taste, your liking, or your preference. We're also going to begin with some black pepper there, as well as some ketchup. Now we're going to be, now of course, I guess you guys realize by now I'm not going to be measuring these ingredients here, so feel free to use your judgment based on what you can observe the amount that I'm putting onto the chicken here. Ketchup we're going to be adding to this chicken here. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and add some Worcestershire sauce also onto my chicken here, and we're not going to add too much of this because we don't want it to overpower our dish here. I'm also going to go ahead and add some soy sauce to this chicken here as well. Like I said, once again, we're not really measuring our ingredients here today, so feel free to eyeball the amount that I'm adding to my bowl here. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a mix, and then we're going to combine our seasoning, our pepper, bell pepper, as well as our garlic and onion. Okay, that looks about good right now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, add this lovely seasoning to this bowl here as well, and go ahead and mix that in there as well. You want to try to get it nice and distributed throughout your chicken here, so everything gets nice and seasoned really properly for when it's time to continue with our recipe here. Alright guys, so that is it for now. What I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to let my chicken breast here sit to marinate for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. And then we're going to come back and begin, or rather continue, our tasty recipe here today. I'll see you guys in about an hour or 45 minutes. Alright guys, so welcome back. It's been about an hour and a half since you guys last heard my voice. Now keep in mind, it is not necessary for you to wait or to have your chicken marinating for that amount of time. Like I said before, 45 minutes to 1 hour is good enough time, but I had to do something, so my chicken was marinating for an hour and a half. There wouldn't be much difference in the taste compared to marination time. So once again, 45 minutes to 1 hour and you should be good. So what we're going to do now, as you can see, I have my frying pan on my stove here. We're going to add a little bit of oil in this pan here. And what I'm using is, of course, olive oil, the healthier option here. And basically what we're going to go ahead and do now, we're going to go ahead and scrape off all of that seasoning from our chicken breast. And then we're going to place that chicken into the oil to fry. We're just going to place our chicken breast into the oil here. And I'm gonna go ahead and allow my chicken here to fry for about 7 minutes with about 3.5 minutes on each side, and then we're gonna come back and make the gravy and finish off this recipe here. Alright, so I finished frying up my chicken, and now what I'm gonna go ahead and do, as you can see here, I placed a different pot on my stove here, and I'm gonna go ahead and place that, all of that garlic and pepper and onion that I removed from my chicken earlier. I'm now gonna place it into my pot here. I'm now gonna go ahead and let that fry up for a couple minutes, and while that's happening, we're gonna jump over and begin chopping up these chicken breasts, guys. Alright guys, so here I have my chicken breasts. Keep in mind that they're not finished cooking yet. It's gonna cook even more or even farther in the gravy that we're gonna be simmering it in. So what we're gonna go ahead and do now, we're just gonna chop this chicken here up into chunk sizes. And like I said, keep in mind that our chicken has not finished its cooking process. We're just gonna cut this chicken up here into lovely chunks. Alright guys, so like I said, I finished chopping up my chicken here, and like I also said, it's also not finished completely cooking. What we're gonna work on now is our gravy, or our stew for this chicken here. So as you can see, I have my onions, peppers and garlic here on the stove that's still going. What I'm gonna go ahead and do now, I'm gonna add some ketchup into this pot here. And like I said, for this recipe here today, we're eyeballing most of it, so make sure that you're paying attention, and you can probably calculate the amount that you need to add for your recipe there. We're also going to go ahead and add a little bit more soy sauce in the pot here. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this up. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to add a little bit of hot water into my pot here. You don't want to add you can add cold water, but you don't really want to add cold water, because it's going to reduce the temperature of your pot and it's going to make everything cook slower. So I'm going to add a little bit of hot water into my pot here so that it doesn't slow down the cooking process or anything like that. Let's go ahead and mix this up. At this point here, you can also go ahead and taste for salt or pepper or whatever else that you may feel that you need to add to this recipe here. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a taste test and determine whether I need to add a little bit more salt or anything else. Alright guys, what I went ahead and did, I went ahead and tasted my pot here. I'm going to add a little bit more soy sauce as well as some salt. I'm going to add some salt to this pot here, as well as some black pepper. Like I said, those are salt and black pepper is totally based on your taste and your liking. Alright guys, that's coming around really nicely. What I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to add my chicken back into this pot here. Alright, so what we're going to go ahead and do now, you want to add enough water that it's filling the top of your chicken, guys. You don't want your chicken to be too much poking out of your pot. So make sure you add enough water there. I'm going to bring my pot up to a boil, and when that happens, I'm going to go ahead and reduce my heat and allow my pot here to go ahead and simmer. So I see you guys with the final product when this here is finished simmering. Alright guys, so here we are. It's been about 20 minutes since you guys last heard my voice or saw my pot here. So let's take a look inside, shall we? Like I said, this chicken did need to finish off cooking, so you do need to give it some time to go ahead and cook. Also, you can go ahead and add salt, black pepper, ketchup or whatever else to your taste or your liking. So as you can see here, my pot here is mostly complete for the most part, but what I'm going to go ahead and do now, because my gravy is so liquidy or watery, I'm going to go ahead and add some cornstarch to my pot here in order to thicken up this gravy. Now you can also go ahead and add some flour if you have that available to you and you don't have any cornstarch. But I do have cornstarch here, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of cornstarch and thicken up my gravy here. Alright guys, so at this point here, this recipe here is complete. Like I said, salt and pepper and ketchup to your taste or your liking. And as you can see, my gravy has thickened up a little bit with the cornstarch. But what I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to allow my pot here to simmer for about another 5 to 10 minutes before actually turning the stove off. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to join me another time, another day, for another brand new tasty recipe on Kitchen Tonic.